Hey guys, welcome to this episode of Sarah Uncut. I want to talk about stress. I know, right? Like, who wants to ever talk about stress? This is Uncut, where I'm supposed to be like, hey, here's my life. Here's what's going on. And you know what? I'm stressed right now. Yep, it's a true story. It happens to everybody. And I know people are always like, Sarah, how do you get so much done? What's going on? How do you do all this stuff? Don't you ever get stressed? Yes, I do. So today, just to give you a quick recap of what my day looks like. So we're leaving for Martha's Vineyard tomorrow. I just got back to the East Coast. I have some awesome friends taking care of my dad. Thank you, you guys. I love you. We are headed to Martha's Vineyard for my daughter's birthday. And then we are coming back. And then my daughter and I are going back to LA for the rest of the summer. And in the meantime, I just dropped the lizard off at the pet store. I've got this I get to record for you guys. I'm so excited about that. We've got all of August podcasts to get locked up and ready to go. And regular client work and the writing and the stuff. Oh my gosh. How in the world are we going to make this day work? All right, so the best ways to deal with stress, holy cannoli, you guys. All right, so I just want to share with you, I was actually working with a one-on-one client this morning. And I don't know if you guys have ever had this experience in your own business, or those of you that are coaches, where you hear yourself talking and you're like, oh, hello, hi, that's for you as much as it is for the client. So I have this gorgeous, wonderful client who has created this exquisitely successful business, and it is her busy season. Like, she is slammed beyond belief. And she just called me and said, Sarah, I just need 10 minutes. We had a quick session together. And it was really just about, how do I get through this? What do I do? Oh my gosh. And I hung up the phone. I just had to giggle because, oh my gosh, isn't it real? Isn't it real? And that's not counting the other client who called me because her social media manager had to quit. And the other client who called me because she has more clients that she can handle. She's not sure how she got in this situation. Good problem to have, right? And others who were like, oh my gosh, between the family and wanting to get away and enjoy the summer and COVID and blah, 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 we're all running around going, how did this happen? And then can sort of be the experience when we get this stressed out, right? It's like, wait, I'm sorry, what? Nobody asked me if this was okay. It could kind of be that feeling, right? So, here, I can see you guys better if I do this. We're just going to put these right up here. I'm going to tell you guys exactly what I shared with my client today, because I think this is really important. And obviously, she had a specific situation, so we surrounded this around her specific situation. But the content is important, and I feel that this isn't talked about enough. And I really want to take some time today to talk to you guys. So I have actually been studying for one of the podcasts we're recording for August about fear, right? And really the impact that fear and anxiety and stress have on us. And you guys, I don't know how they're not talking about this more, but the CDC released records about all the people who actually passed away from COVID. 95% of the people who passed away from COVID had underlying conditions already. Right? And you might go, oh my gosh, Sarah, we know what those are. Yes, okay, so we knew that obesity hit hard, maybe diabetes hit hard. You guys, the number one underlying condition that contributed to the mortality rate of COVID-19, right? The number one was obesity. Number two, you guys, was stress and anxiety. It beat out diabetes. Why are we not talking about this? Why are we not talking about the fact that, you guys, we've got to take breaks. We've got to eat well. We have to take care of our bodies. We have to drink the water. We have to eat healthy meals. We have to plan ahead enough to know that we're going to be okay physically to be able to handle the stress that's coming in, because the stress is real. I can feel it right now. I can feel it here today. It's like, wow. Okay, deep breaths. So I lay that foundation just really quickly in this version of Sarah Uncut, because I want you to understand how serious this is. So I can joke around about dropping off the lizard and trying to feed the cat and making sure the dog has drugs for the ride, and we can do all that stuff, right? And we can joke about it, and I always make the jokes too about women and our connective tissue between the two hemispheres of our brain and how we can do this, where we're like, yeah, we'll have chicken for dinner. Did you guys pack that? Yeah. Did you get that? Okay, yeah. And we just live this way. But the toll on us, right, and all of society, this is all of us grouped together, is real. Number 2 killer during COVID. Number 2. That's a big deal. So what do we do with this? Holy crap. Okay. So one of the things that I talked about today that literally real time on the phone, and this is what I love about Sarah Uncut, is I can literally just come to you guys and start talking about what's actually happening. And in this phone call with her, it was the staff is acting this way, the clients are expecting this, there's only so many hours in the day, what can we do about this? And that's going to happen to all of us, right? You guys, like, I'm going through it today, you might go through it tomorrow, like you might have found this video because you're like, oh my God, I'm so stressed out. What do I do? P.S. If you're new here, welcome. Don't forget to subscribe. Now, when this hits and we're having these moments, these cycles, they're normal. You guys, we're going to have them. They're just going to happen. It's okay. And we want to normalize that immediately because I think, especially as women and entrepreneurs too, we can kind of get into that mode of like, what's wrong with me? Oh my God, this is only me. How did I let this happen? How did I get here? Those kinds of questions. And while that's normal, it's not exactly helpful. So we want to just normalize the heck out of the initial stress because it's going to be there from time to time. And a lot of the time it's good stress. It means like, oh my gosh, our business is booming. Then there's the fear-induced stress of like, oh my gosh, this isn't going the way I need it to go. We got to make more money or I have to fire somebody, or those kinds of stresses too. So a couple of quick tips. I'm literally just going to give you tips right now on how to deal with stress because I think it's that important and they're very simple and they're all free. Yeah? Okay. Tip number 1, okay, is something physical. And this is something that Karen Foote gave us on our podcast. It was last March. We were also freaked out about the shutdown. And there was this new term, shelter in place. Everyone's like, what just happened to the world, right? And the stress level was undeniable. Like it was so crazy. And she said, just put both of your hands on your head like this. And I was like, what? And then I did it. You guys, amazing. Did you see how I just calmed down doing that too? There's something wild, right? And if you watch a lot of the times, guys in meetings, like men, meaning specifically men in meetings, they'll do that. They lean back, they put their hands on their head. Isn't that wild? And I don't think it's an intentional thing, but it's a calming thing. So it's an indicator that sometimes naturally we'll reach for that when we're stressed out. We'll reach to put our own hands on our heads and just sort of, it's like this grounding, restful, like, hey, you're okay feeling. Amazing. Tip number 2, wiggle your toes. Yeah, I know. You're like, I'm turning in to watch this episode of Sarah Uncut and she just told me to wiggle her toes. Yes, I did. Because if you wiggle your toes when you're really stressed out, immediately just do it right now. I don't care where you are, like unless people can totally see your toes. Wiggle your toes right now. Isn't that wild? Just hear your attention focuses on something grounding. So powerful, so cool, free. All right, so we have now hands on the head. We have wiggling the toes. The next thing when we're stressed out or we're having crazy days like this, that's really important is water. And I know you're like, Sarah, snooze. Everybody says that. And I'm going to ask you right now, are you dehydrated today? Like legit, right now, have you had enough water yet today? So you can say, oh, I know all this stuff. Are you applying all this stuff? Because if not, that might be why you're stressed out. Just saying. All right. So there's that. So we have hands on the head. We have wiggling the toes. We have water. And then the next thing I just want to share with you guys is really taking a moment to just look around. Now, why would I say that? Well, it's like things like looking at my flower. I love these flowers so much, right? So looking at the flowers, it's just going to cause you a little bit of peace for a second. When you look out the window and you can see a little bit of nature, that's going to cause some peace for a second. If you can hear the sounds of nature, it's going to cause some peace for a minute. And sometimes just taking a second to look around and recognize that all of the craziness, all of the to-dos, all of the expectations on you, all of those things going on, you can actually distill that down for just a minute if you're able to look around at things that you love and remember that everything's okay. And that sounds so silly, right? But it's that grounding piece of like, it's okay. This is okay. I'm okay. Okay. Whew. And then the next thing is one thing at a time. I know. You guys must be going like, Sarah, I know this. I'm going to say, great. Are you doing it? I don't care what you know. I care what you do. Right? As my friend and mentor, Brendon Burchard says, well, I think he's my friend. He may not call me his friend, but I don't care about that. Anyway, as the amazing Brendon Burchard says, common sense is not always common practice. And I really like that phrase. But you guys, this is going to be a stressful time. There's a lot of still unknowns, which I can't even wrap my own head around, but there's still unknowns about we're going to get shut down. Australia shut down again. In LA, the masks were mandated again. Like, it's all this stuff. And it's like, holy cannoli. Oh, and by the way, can you keep up on daily life? Oh, and by the way, can you be Instagram perfect? Oh, and by the way, right? It's yucky. So while all that is going on, I want you to do common practice. I don't care what you think you know. I care what you do. And so on days like this, I get to pop in and say, guys, let's all be less stressed. Let's use these free tips that actually work to help you stay less stressed. So just to touch on that last one again for a minute. When I say one thing at a time, one of the reasons we start to feel so stressed is that we're working on one thing, right? So I'm dropping off the lizard thinking, oh, I got to record Sarah Uncut. Oh, and then what, could you imagine if I'm recording this video and I'm like, oh God, did I do the dish? I don't, And you guys know I'm totally checked out and I'm not with you. That's going to be crappy, right? That's not going to be quality products. Does that make sense? We're not going to produce the best of what we're here to produce if we're not only doing what's in front of us in the moment. So when I say one thing at a time, you do one thing at a time, you complete it. You do the next thing at a time, and then you complete it. And then you do the next thing. And just as you do that, one, if you're a brilliant person and you write these things down and you're actually checking them off as you go, you're releasing dopamine every time you have a check. Right? So now we're bringing down the cortisol by focusing on only one thing, and we're upping the dopamine by doing the checklist. That's really like one thing at a time. Check. Oh, okay. And then that gives you the energy and the momentum and the focus to do the next thing. And if you find yourself starting to freak out and do the whole, but wait, but what about next? But what about next? But what about? Hands on the head, wiggle your toes, take a sip of water, look around, next thing. Okay? Anyway, I hope this has just been super, super helpful for you guys. I love you to bits, and I do think we're up against kind of a stressful time coming up, and I don't want you guys to be stressed. I don't want you to carry lizards into stores and wonder, why am I carrying lizards into stores? Let's just leave that for me to do. Anyway, I love you guys to bits. I hope you enjoy Sarah Uncut, and please stay unstressed and enjoy the rest of your summer.